Hello everybody, so today we are going to be doing a VOD for a Diamond 4 Fernando game, so should be fun. We're on Ice Mines. The comps are pretty interesting. Ice Mines is a little bit different than most games just because of like how important ults are, right? So that kind of just affects just a lot of like what you play for, just because you can basically assume every game is going to go to free because that's just how Ice Mines works. So you're just trying to save your ults for the mid fights as much as possible, which is a little different, but it's whatever. Okay. We are Aegis in the build. I honestly forget what goes in a good Nando build. I do know that Towering Barrier is not worth it. I'll probably like edit in a Nando build on screen and edit things if I think of something better, but honestly I can't think of it off the top of my head. I'll go back to that at the end actually, if I remember. But Towering Barrier, like you can test it yourself in shooting range. The benefits that it gives, it does increase the rate of shield that you get when you're using Aegis. It's just not super significant. Last Stand is very much a one pointer. You don't really run the card above that. You're running cards that I wouldn't run at such a high level that I can't help but feel like you're missing something. It might be HP, might be heat transfer. Honestly, I'd really recommend heat transfer at a 4. It's effectively a second charge of your dash, right? And like that's pretty good. So yeah. For the items, let's see what everyone else is getting, because that's kind of important, right? Because you kind of got a master riding race on Ice Mines. And this is the case on every map. But because Ice Mines is so long, Ice Mines like really shows off what master riding does and why it really punishes you if you don't buy it. Because master riding, what it basically is, right? It's free map control. You get there first, you get control of more map. You get to draw the line in the sand farther. And normally you need to like push and use shield and use HP and do damage to take that space, right? But for master riding, you get it for free. Ice Mines is really important because you get more space, right? It's a longer distance. Maybe on something like a Frog Owl, you get like just a little bit more. On Ice Mines, you get a lot more. So I'd really prioritize master riding, because especially because you're going to be playing in Barn, right? You're going to be playing down here. This is sort of like your area to worry about. Your Ash can worry about the other side. So master riding, instead of letting you draw the lines here, maybe lets you draw the lines here, and all of a sudden there's like a little mini choke point, right? There are entrances and doorways, and those tend to be pretty good. So getting master riding so you get control over those areas would really recommend. I also severely doubt that you're going to get an ult in the first mid fight. So what that kind of means is that morale boost is not going to do anything for you, right? It's just not going to do anything. Is it going to be good for the rest of the game? I don't think it's going to be good for the rest of the game either. The reason is that it is Ice Mines, right? Yes, Nando ult is very, very good, but it's Ice Mines. You are saving your ult for the mids, right? There's no real reason for you to be ulting more than twice per round. Honestly, if you're ulting more than twice per round, you're probably just not having your ult for a mid, and that is, again, that's death on Ice Mines. Because Ice Mines mid fights are all about ults. So morale boost is good. I feel like you got the right idea, right? It's just you don't need morale boost to get your ult for the important bits. For veteran, I don't know if that's like a... I guess it costs the same... Or for rejuve, sorry. You can tell where I'm going with this. I think veteran just kind of outstats it, right? Like trying to survive, that's cool. You got the right idea. Veteran does it better. At least this patch. That's Saudi. I didn't see if you did the Ice Mines jump or not. Small thing. So on Ice Mines, there's a dismount through these gates, right? At least in the first round. I'm not really sure what's going on with that in the future. So instead of like going down here, as a support, I'm usually the one getting the dismounts. Let me tell you, this sort of pathing is very easy to dismount. What you want to do instead is go around here, so that you spend as little time crossing the dismount spot as possible. Now they have an IO, but even IOs typically go for dismounts that are that important. Remember back in my day, a few months ago, you had to be careful with how you place down shield against an IO. So this is fine. I definitely think I would have really liked to see you prioritize Barn because nobody's watching offlane. Okay, let's draw Ice Mines. If you've ever watched a VOD that I've done, you know that I like drawing lines. Secure the Ice Mines lanes. These lanes are really important, right? So the one thing that you should probably notice if you're not the main tank, if you're any other roles, that this is open. Anyone can take advantage of this. The Saudi can come around, your Grover can do the same, your Ashe can take a ton of space, maybe your Zen can even make a rotation. So you could try to punish it, but you just don't really have the range as a Nando. But the more important thing that you need to worry about, right? The more important thing is that you went mid instead of Barn. So the way I'll put this is that Barn is more valuable, and Point is more like it's Point, right? Like that's kind of the advantage. You are going to start getting cap time. I think that because Ice Mines is kind of set up like this, right? Most of the time you have offlane, right? This is your offlane here. You have Point, but then on most maps this area just is not valuable to a main tank. It's not accessible, it's not useful, it's not really good, right? On Ice Mines it is. And the reason it is because it controls Point really well, and it also lets you access backline. Basically, I think you should be in Barn here. You should sort of be running a double offline sort of setup, because if you don't get met, well then it's free backline for you. You get to go like all the way around, right? And that's pretty cool. And if they do meet you, then you fight for the important space. And you kind of hope that since your team has better range, your team will do something like this. Because if your team does something like that, then you guys probably win. So what's your job, right? Because realistically, your team is a lot better range. So what's your job, right? Well, your range sucks, right? But your job as the main tank on Ice Mines, when you have better range, is to prevent them from getting on top of you guys, right? What is their advantage? What do they want to do? Well, they really want to hard bully you, right? That's kind of like their strength. That's kind of what their comp does. So you're playing safe, which is great. But if you don't go Point, what they can do is they can do this, and all of a sudden the fight in here is close range, and they win that, right? They win a close range fight versus you guys. That's kind of what their characters do. Now their characters kind of suck, so it's not necessarily the case, but hey, this is a VOD. We're covering general concepts. So I think offlane is better because you stop them from getting a close range fight on you guys. If they close range fight you, that's kind of what you want. You're taking their attention, and attention is almost as important as space, right? So you go here, you stop them from getting the close range fight, you threaten flanks, and you control like the more important space. Point's gonna get you cap time though. So realistically, you shouldn't have been able to force this barrack out, I don't think, because he has shield up. Your resources are a bit more renewable than the barracks, right? The barrack shield is on a cooldown. Your shield is on a resource, right? So you can be a lot more sort of precise with how you use your shield. Basically, yeah. I'm trying to get the audio to behave. We're gonna get Saudi clones in our ears this entire game. That's great. So basically, here let's draw a graph, because I know everyone loves graphs, right? Okay, can these? Crap. So let's draw a graph. This is gonna be time, and this is gonna be main tank power, right? So the barrack is gonna be, he's gonna start out not super strong. Maybe he's gonna place a turret, and then he's gonna shield, and then he's gonna get very, very strong, right? And he's going to be very strong for a bit. Maybe he's going to place another turret. And the shield's going to go down. Maybe one of his turrets gets broken. He puts another turret. Maybe he uses dash, and his dash ends. My point is that you need to worry about this. This is when he has shield up, right? He's using his other little cooldowns. He's using turret and dash, and you know, that's great and all, but you really care about his shield. Maybe I should have drawn this. If he doesn't have any cooldowns, then that's kind of not great for him. Let's draw that in yellow. But you get to basically control whatever you want. You get to draw your line. You're Nando. You have the more flexible cooldowns. So you kind of start, you know, let's say same level. Maybe Bjork's a bit more threatening than you. So maybe you put up shield, and now you're stronger than the Barrack. And let's say you putting up shield puts you at around here, right? And you can keep the shield up however you want. It's not super valuable for you to keep your shield up for the Barrack's power spike, because he's gonna outtrade you no matter what you do, right? So what you do instead is you come up here, you say, I've got my shield up, great. The Barrack says, no, I've got my shield up, and at this point he's gonna bully you, because that's kind of like how that matchup works. He has shield up, he has more damage, he's gonna bully you out, right? So what you do, well, you don't try to contest this, right? You can't really beat him at his power spike, so you put shield down. You take the L, wait for his shield to run out, then you come back. Okay, well maybe he uses some more cooldowns, cool, and then you come back. Basically, when people are at their strongest, you don't need to fight that, right? Because doing this gives up time. You're giving up objective pressure if you do this, right? So you don't always have to. You can contest him when he's at his strongest. You can sort of draw this sort of line. That's fine. You can do that. I wouldn't early on in a fight, because time isn't super valuable, but your HP, your cooldowns, one, they are more valuable at the start of the fight, you know, because your support kind of has to, you know, if your support has to do less, you can focus more on, especially as a Grover, you can focus more on like providing more value for your team. But yeah, so time is, and time is like less valuable. It frees up your team's resources, and time is less valuable. So you don't need to do this. You'd much rather do it later. And this is how a lot of tank matchups work, is just monitoring these cooldowns. Oh, audio is pretty important, isn't it? God, I love audio bugs in Spectator. It's the worst. It's like here, right? Just a small thing, right? You have full shield and a quarter HP. Try to balance these out. They both recharge passively, sort of, you know, if your support backing you up. So you kind of want to split them evenly. You don't want to lose too much of either, because then that kind of sucks. Something else that I'll say, right? Because you don't really need to make anything happen here. You're not going to make anything happen. There's no reason that you need to be where you are. You can be here, and you can be cutting sightlines from the Betty. You can make it a bit more awkward for this guy to peek you. This Barrack has to swing out a bit wider to see you, but you're not doing anything differently. It doesn't actually hurt you. You did let the Grover heal you out of caught, which is great, but I will say, you don't need to be shielding. You can just be sitting back. If they come to point, sure. But like, why are you fighting this? What does this do? Right, this is great. Great, you're playing Paladins, you're shooting the enemy team, you're using your abilities. Great, what does that do for you? And the answer is it does nothing more than just sitting back and doing nothing. It does, if you need to shield, if you need to fight this, you can always opt into that. But there's no reason for you to force this, and especially with a Grover, you're going to be in a weird spot for a while. But your Saudi gets a pick, which is great. So, one thing that I will point out is that until just the last little bit there, your Ashe was stacking. I tend to not like staying on point when that happens. It's just, I'm going to take the initiative, I'm going to push an offlane. If you're not going to push an offlane, I think it's that important. And here, you have a very large advantage because of cap. This Barrack, this Barrack is going. Where's this Barrack going? Right? Where is this Barrack going? He's going on point. You know why he's going on point? Well, it's very obvious because he needs to. And why am I saying these very obvious things that we all know? Basically, he needs to be on point and you don't. Right? He needs to be on point and you don't. So if he needs to be on point and you don't, you can go wherever you want. Well, they have 3 people alive, and you guys have 5. So you can fight the Barrack on point, but doing that makes it a 4v5, right? There's no reason that you need to fight him on point. Why would you ever fight him on point? Why would you want to do that? You know what you can do? You can just go kill these people. Literally, what's stopping you? Look at this. Isn't this the most free thing you've ever seen? Like, this is absolutely free though, right? You can burn point. It should be pretty easy to burn point. They're down players, they're down health. You guys can basically do whatever you want in this specific situation. But in general, when the other team needs to touch, you can burn that, sure. But you can also force an uneven fight if you take the fight off point when they need to touch.
Enemy dub, look out!
Something else you could do. There's a lot of small things in main tanks. I love this noise of Saudi clones. It's great. So overtime in this game procs at 84%. Right? If you are trying to proc overtime, though, don't proc it at 87 or 84. That's really risky. Proc it at 87 just to be safe, because this game is buggy and will screw you over. But technically, 84 is the earliest that you can proc overtime. So let's say they touch 84, 87, whatever, and then they leave. So this Barrack gets in, gets overtime, leaves, right? So overtime can happen. Overtime, originally, 5 seconds. 5 seconds to start. Do you know how long it takes overtime to clear compared to how long overtime takes to tick? And I don't actually know either, but it's like less than 5 seconds. God, I can't write. Listen, writing with a mouse, dude, it's hard. Don't judge me too much. So it's less than 5 seconds. So what you can do here is you can get off point. You can get off point. You can wait the 3-4 seconds it takes for overtime to clear, hop back on, instantly cap because there's no overtime, and that works out pretty well. Like this is something that you'll see a lot of really good main tanks do. If you watch PPL VODs, that you can tell there's like an understanding that they're both trying to deny overtime. The other thing that giving them overtime can do is they can touch overtime, and they get 4 seconds, and then it's 9 seconds, and then they can get 3 seconds, and then it's a whole thing. Denying overtime is 100% something you should look to do. Oh, he didn't get overtime. Okay, well. Alright then. It is worth pointing out, by the way, that you could be at much higher HP during this entire fight if you balance your shield and your HP a bit better. Do they have record, by the way? How much record are we looking at? Basically no record. Okay. Cool. So here, let's talk about some fun macro stuff. What sort of plays do you need to force here, right? What does your comp want to do? Well, your comp kind of just wants to sit back and poke, right? Grover Saudi into that. Oh my god, that's the freest matchup I've ever seen. So what do you need to do as a main tank? Well, if your backline is kind of doing their thing, well, you guys don't need to do anything. They're going to win the fight for you eventually. An opening will happen, or they'll get a pick, or Grover will root something, or whatever, right? So an opening will happen. The other team needs to force a fight onto you guys first. So your job is to try to meet that, right? They're going to try to dive you guys at some point. They should try to dive you guys, right? Koa's gonna dash. Their comp sucks, right? Their comp sucks. Their comp is really, really bad. But I didn't even look at talents. Okay, yeah, it's not even half shell. Okay, if it was like half shell, smoke and daggers, maybe they can. And yeah, their comp sucks. So you guys probably win no matter what. But you want to be in the way, right? You want because here are your options, right? You can either have them fighting you guys them fighting your backline at close range, or them fighting your backline at long range. The only reason that they're going to fight your backline at long range is if you're in the middle. So that's kind of your job here. You don't need to make anything happen, you just need to be in the way. Do you need to push this? You could, maybe. If you think you can get a kill, then do it. I don't think you could, but I think you tried. You had the right idea trying to shield them, but you didn't get it. So right here, do you need to push these people? Well, you're even. They lost a DPS. You guys lost a tank. But their tanks are stacking, so they're not really doing anything right now. And you guys have better range, so no, you don't need to do anything. Just chill. I don't think I would have dashed out this way. You probably just dashed out to the left side. So, like, your Zen kind of feeds, and that sucks. But you see how, like, you guys are kind of slowly winning this poke fight? I guess not anymore, because you're down 2 people, actually. Okay, well. Numbers game. Bot Rejuve 2, again, I Haven Veteran is better. I really think Master Riding is worth prioritizing on this map. Like, you haven't built an ult yet. What have those morale boost credits done for you this game? Big 52 heal by the Grover. So again, what do you need to make happen? Nothing really. As long as you're taking a poke fight, you are vibing. Unfortunately, your Zen dies though. Okay, numbers game, just leave. You guys are staggering. Hate to see it. How many people do you have alive? You have 3 people alive. You have your Zen isn't spawn. You have 3 people alive. They have 5 people alive. You lose this. Get out! Numbers game. I don't know why you dashed into mid there holding that corner is pretty cool. Makes them hard for you to push you. But.
30 seconds left.
You guys get a pick. Cool. Walk up. Don't feed, but walk. Does that go through shit? What? Okay. Interesting. You could 100% let your shield recharge here. Oh, I don't know why you dashed. What do you need to make happen? What do you need to make happen right now? Well, nothing. You guys are up 1, and you guys have the better poke comp. You don't need to make anything happen. You staying alive is more valuable than anything. Because you dying means you lose the numbers game.
Enemy dub. Look out. 7.
Like, you didn't need, what did you do with that fight? You did nothing, but your team won. Because your team had space.
2, 1.
Your team was... Oh, okay. Yeah, you saw that one coming. You saw that one coming. Normally I'd say take high ground, but it's OT, and it's not really safe for your Grover to push cart, so that's fine. Your Zen needs to get his act together a little bit. Start playing life a little bit as the Zen character. Where's your Grover? Your Grover's top left, no? Okay, he's coming, so he should be getting healed. So I don't really know why are you here, right? Let's min-max the positioning a bit, right? You be playing this corner, and you can basically LOS the IO, and if the IO does want to shoot you, then she has to put herself in a lot more danger to do so. Just use natural cover. Like, your shield and a wall does the same thing, right? Like, and walls are free.
Okay, real talk. I'm gonna stop that guy.
So aside from, like, slightly min-maxing your position there, I don't know, that just happens as a main tank in this game sometimes. It's like, well, I've got to touch this point. So I'm gonna keep touching this point.
Alright, they getting hot.
Bot morale 2, you haven't ulted once, and okay, so once you start getting to higher levels of morale boost, you're thinking, how many times do I want to be ulting this mid fight? I don't think you're gonna build 2 ults in a mid, so I don't think morale boost is worth. You'd have your ult for this mid, right? If you didn't have morale. Okay, you did go below. Cool.
4, 3,
Master Riding check.
2, 1.
Okay, Wrecker's starting to build up. No Master Riding on anyone. Oh my god. Okay, so if you don't... This is punishable, by the way, from the other team. If you don't notice any Master Riding, you can... Well, you can get your own Master Riding. What happens for the other team if you show up as a Fernando? I don't care about main tank, off tank right now. What happens if you show up as a Fernando, like right here, when they are like here? That's really sucky for them, because then they have to push you out. And while they're pushing you out, you know what can see them? Your entire team can see them. Right? If you play like here, you can play this box. And your team has the longest, best sightlines onto all of that. And what does your team want? Your team wants those long sightlines. Your team wants a long poke fight because you out-trade them. So getting Master Riding here and sort of stuffing them in their own choke, in their own side of the map, be very good. Keep them off your backline. It's a punishable mistake from the other team. I think he got scared for your Zen, and honestly, I'd be scared for him too, considering he has like a bajillion deaths, and most of them are first in the fight. Okay, has 4. Never mind. That's still not great, but he's been first. I think that they've at least 3 of them have been first deaths, so I'd be worried for him too. That being said, I don't think it's worth. I mean, obviously, this is a mistake in hindsight. You know, it's whatever. Wow. Okay, so let's point out 2 things here. You guys have just entered what I like to call backline races. So here, we're gonna block out you for a sec, right? Stop thinking about you, right? We're not thinking about the main tank. Look at what is happening. Well, here, sort of this. It's like sort of this, right? This is sort of the rotation we have. And if I want it to be bigger and dramatic, I draw a big yin-yang looking thing, right? That's not really the movement that's happening. It's more of a boxy thing, but you get the idea, right? So basically, both teams' off tanks are in the other team's backline. Now they've just won the backline race. They have killed your backline, unless your Ashe kills these 2 people very, very quickly. Which, if she had ult, maybe. This is why ults on ice mines are so important. Oh my god. If she had ult, maybe, but she's probably not going to. She might, but who knows? She probably just gets eye-ulted and dies. So this sucks. Your Saudi should not have died, right? She just shouldn't have. That's entirely on your Saudi, right? That's a misplay by her. But there's something that you can do to prevent your team from misplaying, right? So let's draw these arrows again. And actually, let's draw this pink arrow a bit bigger, because this is sort of the rotation that's happening, right? This is the path that your Ashe took. So if you, as a main tank, could put yourself anywhere, would it be on point right now? Is that where you think you are providing the most value to your team? Because I don't think it is. I think the most value that you could be providing for your team is right here. Because this way, yeah, the Barrack, he's gonna get cap time. He's gonna get like all 12 of this cap time. Oh my god, 12% cap on ice mines? That's crazy. That's not valuable at all. Just because it's such a long map, dude. You are much better off stopping the Makoa, keeping your Saudi alive. Because if you play, again, this is sort of like double offline, right? You're going to give up cap time. You're going to give up time for more valuable space. You're going to hold here. Your team's going to push here. And if we draw the last bit of the map, you guys have control over here, over here, over here, over here, over here, over here. The other team kind of has control over here. They kind of have control over here, and they kind of have control over, like, this is not, listen, you guys are winning this tic-tac-toe game every day of the week, right? And you can do this just by not going right to point. Like, going to point is great, right? But you got to understand what it's for. Winning the fight is always going to be more impactful than getting objective time, because winning the fight just gives you more objective time. And you can help your team win the fight by keeping your backline alive. Because again, you have Grover Saudi into like 0 range. Your team wants to take these long fights, so you got to keep their backline, their front line, I should say, off your backline. And he gets stunned. So just like a small thing, right? Just like small. It doesn't matter this fight, but it's a bad habit. Your backline was more so set up on this side of the map, right? This is sort of where your team was, and you dashed this way. And that's fine. That's usually where your backline is. This is usually fine, but it's not like, why is this fine? Right? Well, it's because it's safe. It's away from the other team. It's behind walls, and it's where your backline is. It's not where your backline was. So all you did was split yourself, and sure, you got walls. That's great, but it's very chaseable by the other team. What you'd rather do is go over here, closer to your backline, more likely to get help. You can still dash behind walls. It's overall just better. Now you guys shouldn't have retake. Do you think either of your item choices are helping you at all here? Did they have an impact on mid-fight? I don't think Regiv had an impact. I don't think Morale Boost had an impact. Do you think that having more HP would have an impact? Do you think that having 2 dashes would have an impact? And do you think that holding the valuable space instead of going straight to point would be having an impact?
Alright.
there's a world where you get touched there if you have master item and heat transfer.
They're getting hot. Enemy dub. Look out.
And you guys have 2 ults. You guys have 3 ults actually, and they have Koa and Io, which not the greatest ults. Yeah, I'd not go this way. But again, where's the important space? Let's draw off lanes. Let's draw lanes, rather. All right, so we have like main here, and then like, so it's like lane 1. Oh, it's weird. This is a weird part of the map, dude. You have like lane 1, lane 2, lane 3, but it doesn't really start for a while. It's kind of awkward. You're in mid, right? So you're contesting the objective, but you're not because the objective isn't even there. You want control over the more valuable spaces over the map. That's the off lanes. You should be here. You should probably even be trying to fight for this corner. But you didn't really get that because you rolled out here instead of to the valuable space, right? Now you're getting forced out because you're in an awkward spot. That's fine, that happens. But that's really awkward. Your Ashe can probably make some sort of play though. Also, I didn't even think of this, but your Nando ult on the first on that mid fight there for the Zen, if you had saved it for your Betty, or not your Betty, sorry, your Saudi, maybe you guys win the backline race, or maybe you just don't lose it immediately. So here's a fun idea, real quick. There are 2 ways to stop the objective in this game, right? One is to stand on it. This is a very good way of stopping the objective because it stops the objective. The other way is to make it too dangerous for the other team to be on it, right? If they can't be on it safely, well, they're not going to push it. So how do you make it too dangerous? Well, here, I'm going to be repeating myself because there are themes. You control the important space. If you have control over all the way up here, and you maybe have some contesting back here, and you have like your backline set up somewhere, it gets very hard for the team to like actually push the objective, right? So I'd really be prioritizing offlanes if I were you, even as a main tank. This is very much an Ice Mine specific thing. A lot of the time, you're probably just staggering here. A lot of the time you do want to be contesting the objective, but on Ice Mines, not really. Also, you didn't moonwalk that dash backwards, which isn't the end of the world, but you should be doing it anyways. We're very far. Ow. Yeah, just keep shield up. You're fine. One thing that I will say is that you're kind of in between chokes right now. Ice Mine's chokes are this sort of area over here, and like all that. That's an annoying thing. This sort of like this line, I just like, it's really awkward. And then you have like your spawn, right? You have your spawn, this area back here. So being here, you are in between chokes, and being in between chokes means that you're giving up the valuable space. It means the enemy team just kind of can do this for free, right? There's nothing stopping them from taking the important space, getting a whole heck of a lot of angles on you, and that's very dangerous. You might not die, but you'll at the very least have to dash back a lot.
That enemy is unstoppable.
It's unlucky.
Do something.
You see, like, if you were up here, and this Betty, well, first of all, this Betty can't be here. Can they push cart safely? I mean, maybe, but like that's kind of risky, dude, for you to be up here. Your team isn't even alive, actually, I guess. It's not that big of a point.
That enemy is unstoppable.
But now, because you fight in between chokes, now it's like right here. And you'd really like, okay. I was gonna say you'd really like to have your backline set up. But for some reason, these two are kind of swapped here. That's not great. You ulted for the Saudi in your Grover, I guess. That's actually tragic timing. Works out. So same thing again. Are they? You're stopping the cart. Great. Are they gonna push it? No. Drawing lanes, very fun. I love drawing lanes. You can be up here forcing out this guy. And that's going to be very good for your team. Or you can just kill the support who's wandered into your backline, I guess. That's an option.
Alright, they're getting hot.
If you want to buy items, you could. I like your Grover vibing on point. That's nice. You guys are gonna get punished for this. And you drop off high ground. And I don't think you're 5 up.
15 seconds.
Let's talk about the most nonsense choke in the game. So most maps look something like this, right? Where it's invincible backline DPS and then a very open space, right? So you have your team's invincible backline DPS on these two sort of things right here, right? And that's really hard to deal with. The thing that makes Ice Mines obnoxious is that the other team has like all these tiny doors to push out of, and this is the only space for their backline. Even this isn't that big. This part of the map is so stupid and so obscenely difficult to break strategy-wise, because anything you do, it's like, okay, yeah, but you're pushing out of tiny doors into backline DPS that are invincible. It's like, it's not happening. What I'm saying here is that you guys should never leave this position, right? You guys should set your backline up, right? You should set your tanks up. Maybe you have Ashe play up here or Ashe play up here, whatever. You can play like over here and sort of play from cart. Your Zin can play with the Ashe, or your Zin can play over here, and they can always just dash back if they get pressured out. And the other team has to push out of these tiny doors and do Grover spam and do Saudi spam, and they just absolutely get run over, right? That's not a fun time for them. Instead, we're down in the trenches here. Is this the sort of fight you guys want? Is this map geometry favorable for you guys? No. In fact, I'd even say it's favorable for them because it's a sort of close range fight that they want, you know?
10, 9,
Your team wants range.
7, 6,
That being said, you kill them anyways. Good job.
4,
Don't get C9 by the barrack.
2, 1.
By the barracks in front. Is someone behind you? Okay. I knew someone was. Okay. By Master Item Challenge? By an item challenge? You do not need to be saving for morale 3. Maybe. No, I wouldn't.
5, 4,
Alright, let's see.
3,
Okay, you are gonna match. Who's behind you? No one's behind you. Wait, what the heck? Okay, this is really awkward because you are stacking tanks, which is a huge investment, and you are putting all this effort in to protect absolutely nothing. Just if you play tanks, which I assume you do because it's an nando VOD, right? If you play tanks, if you play tanks in your own ice mines and you are the off tank, this area is left open in every single game, and it's so stupidly good. You look up any pro game, I mean any semi-pro game. This area is right here is the most important in the map. So as an off tank, you see this. You can go down here, go out the second window, it's faster. You can go down here. You can sort of take stock of what's happening, right? See if you want to draw the battle line here. You can even go around if you want, but like whatever, that's not the biggest deal in the world. And if you see this, right? If you see it's open, well, you can go into the backline if you want. You can pressure this out. That's pretty good. Or your Nando's pinching. All of a sudden, you have the enemy team literally in a box. That's pretty good for you guys. No matter what comp you're playing, the enemy team being in a box is very good. Unless it's Pirates. But Pirates is stupid. So, not necessarily on you. Just not even a mistake. You're playing this fine. Just something to look out for. What I will say is that like your rollout was fine. The fact that you're continuing to fight this is not. Let's look at the numbers game here, right? What has the Saudi done? I think they've both just demounted, right? I don't think your Grover's done much. The other team's DPS, I think the Sky hasn't really done anything, but this has basically been a 4v2, and the numbers game applies when people are dead, sure, but it also applies to what types of fights that you take, right? There's 4 people here. You are 2 people. There's no way you win this. So you back up. Because if you guys are 2 people fighting 4, let's do some quick maths, that means that there's 1 person maybe contesting everywhere else, right? So 2, 4, 3, like 1? So that means you guys do this, and it's sort of a backline race again. can the 3 kill the 1 before the 4 kill the 2? And that's kind of like when the skill bit comes in, you know? But I wouldn't be fighting this, is the point. This is not a fight you want to be taking. Does shield not block that? That's absolutely crazy. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what you did. Like, their Koa and their Barrack, they fought you, and what did your team do? Well, they took the open space. You anchored. And your team didn't do that first round for some reason, but, it works out. Oh, there's no way she died to that. Is she not battering? Oh, she's battered. Just hit dash, but oh my god. Also, did morale and vet and rejuve help you win that fight? No. Would Master Raiden have made it easier? Yes, because you would have been able to take the fight in barn earlier and get dismounts guaranteed, and maybe made it take them a bit longer to force you out. Something's worrying me here in this photo, and it's this number 2 up here. Who is next to you? Oh, you're over. Okay. That's not. He'll just leave after. Yeah. I thought it was your Ashe. I was about to say, get in the offlane, because she isn't, and that means if no one's in the offlane, that is very bad. They need to be on point. So you can take your 5v4 here, if you want. You killed that thing, yeah. You have full shield. So, again, 2 things that I think are really going to help you live more. Balance your shield with your HP more, and then don't just stand on the objective. Try to min-max it a little bit. Play back here so you can dip into cover quicker. Play here so the other team has to swing wider on you. Min-max it a little bit. Don't just stand on the objective. Put some thought into it. Now your team is winning the fight anyways. That's because they had to retake and whatever. You guys better. Okay. Team kill. Very cool. Capture the, yeah, good job. Any Master Raiding yet from anyone, by the way? Oh, the Koa? Wait, they had Master Raiding? That is lucky of you guys that you won that. If you guys do lose this game, it's probably because of that, unironically. It's probably because, like, the Makoa got into your backline with ult with Master Raiding. So, like, see here? Like this is doing a good job of using like natural cover, using walls. Like you could be what I would expect you to be doing, frankly, is to be out here with shield up, right? But you don't need to be doing that. You're just waiting here. You're letting your team poke, waiting for your chance because your team pokes better. I'm sure you're doing damage. You're not like AFK, but. And now, when you need to do something, when you need to push, then you shield. Nice. I mean, you're not doing anything, but you don't need to. If you needed to do something, then yeah, you'd need to be like saying, okay, well their tanks are stacking, I can go push this guy at the top left, or something like that. But your team's kind of pounding. That appears to be a comp difference. You can trade. It's an IO, friend. It's an okay. Get out of combat. Don't shield up. Just shoot her, dude. Like, the only thing you should maybe do there, if you're in range, and you're gonna stay in range, is you can shield and force her to reload, but like... that's really awkward. And your Grover's kinda doing the Fido, your Zen gets the kill. Numbers game, you guys have people respawning. They're leaving the offline open. So you're probably fine to keep doing this. And I will say, you're playing slow. This is great. This is like what you start off with, right? This is great for when your team is poking. Your team isn't really poking. Your Ashe just dove in there. Your Saudi is ulting. Your team is going very, very aggressive right now. You definitely, like, you can start that tempo as a main tank. You can. It's not always the best, but you can start that tempo. But your Ashe has started that tempo. Your Ashe has committed to this fight. You should also be committing to this fight. I don't really care about you shielding Hacker, and I want you in there. I want you taking space. I want you taking attention. I want you to do stuff because your team is doing stuff. If you have to dash out because you're low, that's fine. You'll have taken more of the barracks' attention. You'll have taken more of the Smakoa's attention. That means their backline dies easier. Careful the turrets.
Alright, they're getting hot. They're getting hot.
You're not really doing that much. Main tank life. Huh. But you know what? You're staying alive. And your team's doing their job. They're not making you do anything else. I definitely think that like this game is made a lot easier by the fact like this is why I really like these sorts of comps in ranked that have better range, is because like a lot of the time you do end up with both teams kind of just like looking at each other and taking a long poke fight, and if your comp is better at that, then you tend to win a lot more fights. But I definitely like be looking to punish, especially if this is how a lot of tank play looks in. This is like what Diamond 4 on console. If this is what tank gameplay looks like in your games a lot of the time, with these tanks stacking and leaving offlane and valuable space open, oh my god, I cannot tell you how easily punishable that is. Like literally moving yourself into the valuable space is just gonna make them fall over. Now maybe not on Nando because you have no range, but other things for sure. Now you can win the game here. So you probably can win ult. I'd be shooting here. What is your team doing? Your team is inting. You need damage. You need shield. No, you're like, yes, your team does poke better. Yes, all that good stuff. Great. You need to kill them. You probably do though. I would 100% prioritize the IO there. That's fine. Go ahead and Nando, and you should come away with this. Awesome. Okay. So going back to what you said, you did do pretty well overall. That was good. So not confident with positioning. So again, managing your shield and sort of min-maxing your position when you're on point. Your ults were fine, honestly. Like, I think your morale boost showed that like I'm not sure you knew what you wanted to. I think that was really a nice Wines thing, you know. But I don't know. Like even on not Ice Mines, I still think Master Riding, Haven, Veteran, Rejuve is maybe next patch. I don't know. Items are changing soon, probably, because Haven, Veteran are getting a cost increase, and that's gonna change things. So we'll see. We will see where things land after the midseason update. Your ults were fine. I think that one on the Zen was like a, oh, I didn't need that, and I feel like you sort of knew that right after you hit it. I mean, your ults are pretty straightforward, right? Like, you ult to save people. I think the situation where you look to save people, though, is like in those sorts of backline races, right? In that game in particular, when they were trying to get onto your backline, that's when you popped the ult. You had some, you know, your ults were fine, I think. I don't think that's super what's causing you trouble. I think you should be looking to min-max your positioning a little bit more and definitely look to fight more in valuable space. I think that's the big themes of this. Fernando builds. This is what I have. I forget what your 1-pointer. You had this, right? Yeah. So again, just messing around with that in shooting range. I don't think it's worth it, but this personally, I think this is what Not Alama uses too, or used rather. So this is what I'd recommend. But give it a shot. I think heat transfer is really good. If you need to go in, if you need to get out, it's good for a lot of stuff. So, and Brand can proc off multiple people, so it's a good 1-pointer. So yeah. Remember, you can submit your own VOD either on the YouTube comments, live on a Twitch stream, or on the Discord Submit a VOD channel. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.